Cleveland Browns fans should embrace Shedeur Sanders' confidence. Cleveland Browns fans should not be concerned about Shedeur Sanders and his recent statements. Shedeur Sanders may be the only third-string quarterback in NFL history who has regularly talked to the media to begin a season. The rookie showed up to the Cleveland Browns with plenty of star power attached to his name, and also plenty to prove after dropping to the 5th round. The fact he is the son of Deion Sanders already puts a target on his back from media and fans alike, both locally and nationally. That's why his recent comments created a bit of a stir. Sanders recently spoke with ESPN Cleveland and was asked if he is ready to play. He said yes, in response to a simple question. He then went on to say he feels he is better than some of the current quarterback play in the league. Again, just in response to some questions on the matter. This created a firestorm of responses, both positive and negative. Those who took it negatively seemed to think Sanders is calling out his coaches, Joe Flacco, and just about everyone associated with the Browns for keeping him off the field. But he never said that. For those hating on Sanders, what was he supposed to say? He is an NFL quarterback, and everyone on the roster should realistically be ready to play at any given time. Him saying he is not ready would be far more alarming and would bring up questions if he should even be on the roster. Anyone watching the Browns since 1999 knows that every single quarterback on the roster always has a good chance of starting at least one game per season. Given Flacco's age and lack of mobility, it would not be a shock to see Dillon Gabriel on the field soon. That would put Sanders next up in line, and he needs to be ready. To this point, everyone knows who Sanders is and what he is all about. These questions did not seem like a trap, but it was obvious his answers would lead to some controversy. What is the issue with a Browns quarterback showing some confidence? This team has struggled for years, and it's a nice change of pace to hear a young player show up and expect to play and to win. There are no negative consequences that come from it, other than media members going after him for a talking point. Shedeur Sanders is going to attract both attention and controversy wherever he goes and whenever he speaks. But if Browns fans want him to lack confidence, that just doesn't make any sense. The Cleveland Browns, a franchise steeped in heartbreak, resilience, and unyielding loyalty, have always had a complicated relationship with their quarterbacks. For decades, Browns fans have carried the scars of false hope, draft day busts, and seasons derailed by the most unforgiving position in football. Names like Tim Couch, Brandon Weeden, DeShone Kizer, Johnny Manziel, and countless others are etched into the painful lore of Cleveland's quarterback carousel. And yet, through all the chaos, the fans have never abandoned their team. Now enters Shedeur Sanders, a young quarterback with swagger, polish, and a famous last name that carries its own gravity. Some Browns fans, naturally cautious, have raised eyebrows at his confidence. After all, Clevelanders are conditioned to brace for disappointment. But maybe, just maybe, this is the very moment where the culture around the Browns quarterback position needs to shift. Maybe Shedeur Sanders' confidence isn't arrogance. It's the belief system this franchise has been missing for decades. This is why Cleveland Browns fans should embrace Shedeur Sanders' confidence, not fear it. The legacy of a franchise in search of swagger. To understand why Sanders matters, one must look back at the Browns' past. Cleveland's football history is legendary. Otto Graham, Jim Brown, and the days when the Browns were the standard of professional football. Yet since their 1999 return to the NFL, the Browns have mostly been defined by instability. They've been a punchline more often than a powerhouse. Quarterbacks in particular have been the revolving door of despair. Draft picks flamed out. Free agents fell flat. Injuries derailed promising runs. Fans became hardened to the idea that hope, especially in a QB, was a dangerous thing to hold too tightly. But Shedeur Sanders didn't grow up in Cleveland. He didn't inherit the scars of the fanbase. He grew up as the son of Deion "Prime-Time" Sanders, one of the most confident, charismatic, and successful athletes to ever walk across a sports field. For Shedeur, belief isn't something he needs to find, it's already in his DNA. Confidence versus arrogance, the fine line Cleveland must learn to see. Cleveland fans are tough, blue-collar, no-nonsense people. They respect grit and effort more than flash. And to them, confidence can sometimes feel like arrogance, especially when it comes from someone who hasn't yet earned their stripes in the NFL. But here's the difference: arrogance is empty. It's boasting without substance. Confidence, on the other hand, is rooted in preparation and self-belief. Shedeur Sanders' track record proves his confidence is justified. He didn't just inherit hype from his father, he's built his own resume. At Colorado, under relentless national scrutiny, he showed poise, accuracy, and leadership in ways few young quarterbacks ever do. He faced stacked defensive lines, relentless pass rushes, and still delivered highlight throws under pressure. He wasn't perfect, but he never backed down. That's the kind of confidence Cleveland has been missing at quarterback. Why Cleveland needs Shedeur's mentality. The Browns' culture has long been about survival. Survive the mistakes, survive the injuries, survive the doubt. But what if survival isn't enough? What if Cleveland finally needs a quarterback who doesn't just survive, but actually sets a tone of belief for the entire locker room? Shedeur Sanders brings that mentality. He's not stepping into Cleveland saying, "I hope I can make it." He's saying, "I belong here. I can be better than some of the guys already starting in this league." That's not disrespect. That's ambition. And ambition is contagious. Teammates see it. Coaches feel it. Fans notice it. When a young quarterback carries himself like he's already capable of winning on Sundays, it elevates everyone around him. The Browns' identity, toughness meets swagger. Cleveland has always prided itself on being tough. From the dog pound barking in the cold winds of Lake Erie to defensive units built on smashmouth football, toughness is the Browns' DNA. But toughness alone doesn't win championships in the modern NFL. Look at Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, or Lamar Jackson. Yes, they're tough. Yes, they can take hits. But more importantly, they have swagger. They believe they're never out of a game, and that confidence bleeds into the entire team. The Browns need that blend of toughness and swagger. Myles Garrett embodies it on defense, confident, dominant, unapologetic. Now imagine if Shedeur Sanders could bring that same energy to the offensive side of the ball. Fans' skepticism is understandable. Of course, Browns fans have every right to be skeptical. They've seen quarterbacks come in with headlines and leave with boos. They've heard promises of the future that never materialized. But Shedeur Sanders is not Johnny Manziel. He's not a reckless gunslinger who built fame off controversy. He's not a half-hearted leader. He's a film junkie, a technician, and someone who grew up with an NFL Hall of Famer as his mentor. Yes, he's confident. But he backs it up with work.